Hello, non-internet travels. I'm LordDT, and welcome to my podcast channel. For this new episode on our series, now we have a new topic to talk about, and it's related on what supervisors should do in the case when an employee comments while working with diverse employees, and his comments were racist and social insensitive and stereotypical. What are the steps that a supervisor should take when encountering an issue like this that could affect the image of the company and clients, and how a supervisor can make prevent this issue before happening? In this second episode, I'm going to interview Jack here, who is a well-experienced supervisor for a radio sports station on Chicago City. Hey, how you doing, Jack?
I am doing fine, Diego. How about you?
Well, I'm fine too.
Good. I think you must be aware of how hard are some supervisor challenges.
Yes, you're right, Jack, because being a successful supervisor can be hard, especially with working travel employees. As yourself, how a supervisor should face these challenges.
Well, these topic we going to talk about it could be a really challenge to supervisor, as myself I have seen and deal with these kind of problems through my career as sport radio supervisor.
So, Jack, before we start talking about the challenges as a supervisor facing travel employees, I would like that you will introduce yourself to the audience and talk about yourself, okay?
Well, my full name is Jack Kaplan and I am 40 years old. I am originally from New York, but I live in Chicago since 2003. I was born and raised with Jewish family traditions. My second great-grandfather emigrated from Germany to New York City during World War II.
Oh, that's an interesting story, Jack. So, at what age did you get involved in sports?
Well, I remember when I was 6 years old I started to watch baseball on TV with my dad. And from that time on I've been involved in sports. Especially baseball. When I was in high school I played in the baseball varsity team. And we won 3 times in a row the school baseball district division 1. Played as pitcher and sometimes as a designated hitter during my last year in high school. I accept a scholarship from the University of Chicago to play baseball and while I was majoring on sport journalism.
So, Jack, how your baseball career was in college? Did something happen to you?
Well, Diego, when I was playing baseball at college I was majoring on sport journalism. But my goal at that time was to be drafted at the minor leagues, but due some injuries on my arm I could not make it happen. My biggest dream since I was kid.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Jack. What happened that you could not achieve your biggest dream?
Well, it is what happened to me and others too, that in life sometimes you cannot always make your dreams come true, but you must try to look for another options. It took me months to recover, but after I recover well from my injuries my game level was not the same after those injuries on my arm. I couldn't play as before, and I can tell you that it was hard for me because I was so depressed during that time that I was think to take my own life. But with the help of my family and friends I could get out of my depression. I think that it is important in life to have people around you that help you out in the hardest times so you can be motivated and be a better person. And that I am lucky, Diego, because I always have that kind of people on my life.
What you say, Jack, is so inspiring and true. I think everybody must think in that way and have the opportunity to be thankful every day for the life they have, because sometimes even if you work hard, you cannot achieve your biggest dream, but you can learn to look for another dream to make it true.
Well, Diego, I personally strive to look for another option that I could achieve. And that options was to become a sports journalist and have my own radio station, so I work hard on that other dream that I have, and I could say proudly that I could make it happen and overcome my depression during my last times on college.
So, Jack, how did you start your own sport radio station?
I started my own radio station due the money I save. I always been saving a lot of money during my college experience and I use my credit card wisely. So with my savings and some effort I bought a big studio at the 1450 Smith Road Avenue. And my first employees were students that I hire by newspaper articles. They were majoring in sport journalism and were looking for a job that can apply their studies. I also forget to say that I have prior experience on management and supervisor. I read books about how to become a great boss, and that helped me out also that I took some extra time and enroll on classes on managing and supervision back to college before making my own radio studio.
Oh, that's interesting, Jack. So back to the main topic of this podcast. I have a question. As yourself, the owner and manager of a sport radio station, what were some issues and challenges that you faced throughout your whole career?
Well, I must say that my most difficult challenges were to create a diverse work environment at the sport radio station. You often don't have gender equality among male and female. I am proud to say that I hire a lot of young women sport journalists that were actually as hardworking as men and knew more about sport than me. Also, that my radio studio wasn't as popular as other in the city. Even though I find a way to become these challenges, I would have an issue later on.
Well, Jack, what was that issue about that you will have later on?
Well, this issue that happened was that last year during an interview to a famous Dominican ex-baseball player Ricardo Ochoa Alvarez that played in early 90s in Chicago Cubs. On live during the interview at the sport radio station, one of our journalism, I would not call the name of him, but you will know who he was. He made an offensive and racist joke during the interviewing Ricardo. And later on Ricardo made a complaint against the radio station. I personally talked to this journalist and I have to pardon Ricardo after this incident. Ricardo and the journalist get along well.
Oh, Jack, so what techniques did you use to approach this issue and make it not happening again?
From now on, I will make sure to set boundaries language and make it more respectful environment at the interview. So the journalist must follow these steps to be able to be on my radio station. I didn't fire that journalist that made that irrespectful joke against Ricardo. I gave him another opportunity. Once again he committed the same mistake, I will have to fire him because we are professionals and this type of behavior is not tolerant for me and our employees and our audience.
Well, Jack, we don't have any more questions to ask you. I think your story is very interesting and I'm really looking forward to a further interview with you because I like the way you think and handle this kind of complicated life situations.
Well, thank you, Diego, for having me as your guest at your podcast. I have an amazing time talking to you and I hope you can achieve your goals as well as me and overcome any obstacle that it is on your way.
Okay, Jack, see you later.
All right, bye, Diego, see ya.
Well, that's all for this video. I would like you guys to comment down below what would you do as a supervisor to overcome some of the challenges that a supervisor faces daily with the employees and with people in general.